are stories that connect us to ourselves and each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid, wild colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. And now, exclusively on KGRA Radio, I give you your host for Soul Wanderings Radio. Here's AJ.
Hello, you beautiful humans. Welcome to Soul Wanderings. I am AJ, your host. And as always, I'm delighted to be here with you tonight. We are hanging out on kgradb.com. I hope that's where you have found us. If not, hopefully you're on KGRA Digital Broadcasting Facebook or YouTube pages, because we're on one or the other platform with you tonight. And if you want to watch us on video, make sure you're with us on Facebook or YouTube in the chat room. That's where we all hang out and have conversation during the show. And if you have any questions for our guests, that's where you'll want to be. That's where you can ask those questions. And when you do, make sure you type them all in caps so that myself or the producer, Chanel, will be able to grab those easily. Tonight, our guest is actually living here in Utah, which doesn't happen very often. We usually get guests from all over. So that's neat because I'm obviously in Utah, as most of you know. But we're apart from each other. He's joining us through the interwebs tonight. And our guest tonight is Machiel Klerk, and he's a social entrepreneur, licensed mental health therapist. He's an international speaker and dream worker. And he has recently published a book called Dream Guidance, Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation, where he discusses how you can harness the power of your unconscious through dream incubation, an age-old technique that teaches you to access hidden wisdom that can be used for personal development. Sounds exciting to me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, AJ. And how fun to speak to someone else who lives in this beautiful state, Utah.
Isn't it beautiful? You've
Outdoor
been
paradise.
all over the world. I'm very curious how you ended up here in Utah.
Well, I think that the only real answer to that is fate.
Yeah.
There's some mysterious force that helped or planted me here. But on the more practical side, I got a job offer 15 years ago. And that brought me here. And ever since, I've been growing down and continue to live here in Utah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're here. This state is beautiful, definitely beautiful and underestimated. People like you are needed in this space because of, you're a therapist. You know what kind of things are going on here. And it's really neat that you're here to do the work that you do, because you are needed in this environment when people are so conflicted with such a dominant religious culture, amongst other things like the altitude and whatnot. It all plays a factor. Well,
Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad that you're spending your time with us tonight. It is an absolute pleasure to have you. And I started following you on social media not too long ago when you became in my awareness. Our good old friend Michelle Freed, which most people know who she is by now. She's also been a guest on the show recently, introduced you to me, and I'm very grateful. I can't wait to get my hands on your book. But in the meantime, we're going to get to know all about the book that you wrote, as well as get to know you. Soul Wanderings is all about learning about who you are on a personal level and how you came into the role of which you are today. So with that being said, why don't you share with us a little bit about yourself?
Well, so my name is Machiel, which is a Dutch name, very difficult for most Americans to pronounce. Most people call me Machiel or anything that comes close to it, and that is great. I was born in South Africa, and we moved to the Netherlands when I was 4. My parents are Dutch, where I lived then till till I turned 30. I traveled at that moment for a year through Asia, studying all these different ways of living and dream techniques. And at the end of that year, I got a job offer here in Utah, which I thought, why not? And then I came here and became a mental health therapist and started actually the Jung Society of Utah, a local nonprofit where we host these events for the general public, and have always been deeply interested in dreams, and that can say more about it, but that did lead me to writing this book and exploring the world of dream and its inhabitants, and to see how this can be helpful for a person in their life.
Yeah, well, we all have dreams, right? I would imagine all of us do. We may not always remember them. I've always looked at dreams as a delivery of messages of sorts. I write down a lot of my dreams, and a lot of times that information happened, like that event or that person or that experience takes place. I've always looked to my dreams as interpretations to what's to come. But I also know that there's different meanings to different things that you dream about, and I'm sure you'll be able to share all of that with us tonight.
Well, it is really interesting that you have dreams that seem to know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that points to this mysterious force that lives in all of us, or outside of us, or maybe outside and inside, that knows about our life, and that knows maybe what happens in some other place or in the near future. And I think in dream guidance, I make the suggestion on how to nurture the relationship with this mysterious force that knows and that will speak to us in dreams, and how we can proactively engage with it. Not only that it spontaneously tells us things that will happen, but for any question that's relevant to our soul and the wanderings of our soul, it seems to be delighted to support us in that journey.
I like how you did that. The name that I created was no accident.
Yes, and the other point that you made is that we all probably dream, and that is true. We all dream several hours each night, yet we only remember a little bit or nothing at all. And that is because at night our short-term memory goes offline, so it doesn't work. So we have all these experiences, but we don't remember it unless we wake up or in the morning have this dream and quickly write it down. But we all dream. Even people that think they don't dream, turn towards your dream, tell your dream, I want to dream. There are all kinds of techniques to improve dream recall, but we all dream.
Yeah. I've heard so many people say, I never have dreams. That doesn't happen for me. But I find that hard to believe because there's so much that goes on when we're asleep unconsciously or even consciously. There's just so much going on that we won't recall. I'm no expert on this topic. That's why you're here. So I won't ramble on about dreams. I'll let you do that for us. But what was the beginning of your dream journey like? What drew you to this type of topic, and why is it so important to you?
Well, I was in my early 20s, and I was really stuck in my life. I hadn't dealt well with the grief of losing my father at the age of 10, so compounded grief that wasn't expressed and dealt with. I didn't really know what to do with my future. If I would think about the future, it would be just black. I was sitting on the couch, not doing much, and in an increasingly grim place, I, by fortunate chance, stumbled upon the works of Carl Jung. this Western psychologist who wrote extensively about dreams. And so I started to look at how you could look at dreams, and then look at my own dreams. And at once I started noticing, oh, this is what's going on in my life. This is where my psyche, my soul tries to move towards. And by aligning with my soul or the direction of my life became so much better. And ever since, I've been hanging on to the thread of dreams.
That's really neat. I love how something happens to us in our life that is so profound that it lingers with us for the remaining of our journey here. And for you, it's dreams.
Yeah.
Everyone
It was in
has something.
Yeah, it was in deep heartbreak and unresolved grief, and didn't know how to deal with grief, loss, pain, the pain of life, in combination with a lack of meaning and purpose. That was really in the depths of the pit, and there was the little golden thread of the dream that I could hang on to. That started to show as a psychological X-ray what was going on, and also that force that you just talked about, that knows about our life, started helping and guiding me. And of course, it doesn't mean there's no ups and downs, but at least there's a sense of purpose to the ups and downs, and that makes life interesting and very bearable.
Right.
Yeah.
It puts a different spin on things. Definitely, I would have to say that. Going through that journey of learning about your dreams and having those connections and those experiences you had, did that put you in a place of like learning more about the mental health as you offer now, or any psychology? Like, was that part of the journey, the lifelong journey that you've had?
Yeah, because at the heart of dream work for me was really the psychological a call to become more aware, or to be psychologically looking at my life. And when I came here in Utah, I went to a school, Pacifica Graduate Institute, is in Santa Barbara, distant program, and there I became I trained to become a mental health therapist, because I love the dreams, but I'm very interested in how the soul expresses itself, how we can tend to the soul's expressions, and then wander along with it, so that we can enjoy life a bit better and have some sense of meaning.
Yeah. We are really good as humans to get in our own way, right?
Right.
I'm sure you see this a lot through what you do. I work with people on a different platform with a spiritual healing center. However, we do have mental health coaches and therapists who assist us with certain clients, because, we're not certified to do it all. And teamwork makes the dream work, as I always say. But it's quite interesting to witness someone come in a state of, I say a more negative vibration, like anger, fear, things like that. Not that they are negative, they're just hanging out in a lower vibration area, to seeing them go into the higher vibrational emotions and feelings, like hope and happiness and love. And in doing that, there's like this cross in between that I've witnessed from them changing vibrations. And I'm sure that you witness it as well. But you talk about the soul and the expression of the soul, and how that plays a factor here in our lives day to day. And it's so important for us to check in with ourselves and not stick on that autopilot that a lot of us do, just the day to day, the Groundhog Day, and not really checking in. With your clients, do you see a lot of people disconnected from their soul or from any sort of direction because they're hanging out in those lower vibrational areas?
Yeah, I indeed, I see the same. And I think that quite a lot of symptoms that people portray are on the lower vibration, yet are the door through which you can find your soul. So in depression is on a certain moment starts to become a very, very low vibration. But very often the depression is not only a disorder, but it's a function of the psyche or the soul in which it slows down a person. Maybe the person is in the wrong job or is in the wrong relationship, and then sooner or later one becomes depressed. And this depression is not something that needs to be then immediately medicated or cut out, but it's more the soul telling us, hey, you're in the wrong place. And before you walk full enthusiasm further, we need to slow you down and take the energy away. And so by really listening to the lower vibrational states, we learn about what our soul tries to tell us. And then we can come back to our own self, and we're automatically carried up to a higher state, or the symptom loses its influence, and life becomes better that way.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What about for those people who are ignoring those signs when our soul is communicating with us, yet we still stay in the same places?
It happens to probably all of us from time to time, that the call to adventure is ringing, and it's a very classical motif in mythologies and in fairy tales, where the hero or the heroine is being called to some task, and the first move is rather not. And so this it takes a courageous approach to walk into the depths of one's own being, to look at the anxiety or the depression or whatever symptom a person has. And so it's understandable, but the thing is, it also doesn't go away. So the call keeps on calling, and usually starts taking on a more grim form. And that is for when you look at dreams, that is usually when nightmares start appearing, because a person has too long ignored the call or didn't understand the call in the right form. And so in a dream form, some monster tries to get to us. And if we could turn towards the monster and figure out what the monster wants, we're usually better off. But we think the monster is so scary, so we're gone.
Yeah.
But we actually need to turn towards monster.
Ooh, yes. I love that you said that. We are really good at turning away. So, but that leads me to a question I was going to ask you before you brought that up, and you may have just answered it. But when we're in those lower vibrational energies, I was going to ask if they affect our dreams. Obviously, with what you just shared, they definitely do. How does that shift for us? Is it just by shifting our vibration and being aware that we're in that space that our dreams will shift for us?
The dream very often provides somewhat of an X-ray of where we are in the psychological territory. So if there is in the dream, let's say there's a monster or something chasing us, or a zombie, or a burglar trying to get into the house, it shows what is happening. And let's say that the monster is there, by even turning towards the monster in day-to-day time, making a drawing, perhaps saying, "Hey, monster, what brings you here? Do you want something?" And then have the monster write back to you. You'll get surprising answers. And very often, the darkness contains in itself also the light. It is a little bit like in fairy tales, where in Beauty and the Beast is scary, and Beauty doesn't want to have anything to do with it. But the Beast is also the one with the golden voice. And so once she connects to the Beast, she gets that gift of the golden voice. Or the little frog that is despised knows where the golden ball is, or how to get to the golden ball. So these despised, darker aspects of our own personality often contain an element of gold in them. And by turning towards them and mining it and engaging with it, we can bring it up. And then we get to these higher vibrational states as gold is.
I love your analogies. I'm a very visual person. That helps me a lot.
Yes.
And it's also great for our listeners because it presents a story for us to connect to.
And stories and visuals are the natural expression, I think, of the soul. The soul expresses itself in images, in feelings, and in worlds. Let's say that the dream is an expression of the soul. A dream is a world that we find ourselves in. It's not a letter sent from mystery source X to us, but a world. Take any dream that you can remember. You notice, hey, I was somewhere, and there's monster, or there's the cab driver, or the alligator, and I'm interacting. So you can see how the soul expresses itself dimensional in a world, and that is. I think that's the natural language of the soul. And so we need to also understand that a little bit better, that it talks slightly different than you and I are talking right now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And maybe that's why they call it dream interpretation, because everything is up for our own interpretation.
And it is our own soul that creates that reality. And so it is also formed based out of our own beliefs and feelings and experiences. And so every dream has always a personal element where you have to ask the individual, how do you feel about it, or what do you associate to it? Because there are personal elements in each dream that requires a little bit of interpretation.
You're getting my mind going. I'm really excited for this conversation, and we're just getting started. We're up on our first break, so we're going to take that and get that out of the way. Thank our sponsors for supporting the station and the show. So I hope everyone stays close so we can continue our journey with Machiel when we return. Thank you.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Are you looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small, esoteric getaways are limited and do feel vast. So, go to MysteriousAdventureTours.com and book your trip soon.
Hi, I'm Austin Butler from Baz Luhrmann's new film, Elvis.
Tomorrow, all of America will be talking about Elvis Presley.
As a blood donor himself, Elvis shared the gift of life with patients in need and asked others to do the same. We're encouraging you to give blood this summer. Please visit redcrossblood.org/Elvis movie today to learn more.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Soul Wanderings and Soul Wandering. We are. That is for sure. We have a great guest tonight, Machiel Klerk, and he is a lot of things. I introduced him at the beginning of the show, but what we're talking about tonight is dreams, our dreams. We're talking about dreams. He's a dream worker, and he's recently published a book called Dream Guidance: Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation. I've never heard of it called Dream Incubation. Can you explain to me the title a little bit more?
Yes. So dream incubation is a very old technique in which people ask the dream a question before they go to bed in order to have a dream respond to the question. So what you've noticed in the beginning of the show, that there's some mysterious force that can help, that can show what happens in the future, that comes with creative ideas. And we don't have to wait for that mysterious force to come to us and deliver a great dream. We can turn towards the dream and ask it a question. So any question that is relevant to our life, such as how can I grow my business that more people will benefit from it? Or what's one type of food that I could eat that would be healthy? Or how can I be more loving to myself? Those are great questions that your dream will be delighted to help you find an answer. And so this book describes a practical 5-step process in which you can ask tonight or any night your dream a question for something that's relevant to your life.
I never thought of asking my dream a question. I'm going to do that tonight because I do have a lot of dreams. Of course, I don't remember them all, but I did have a very intense dream that I woke up from early this morning. Normally I wake up pretty early, 4:30, 5 o'clock.
That's early.
It is early. I have a lot to do during the day. That I want to do during the day. And today I was extra tired. So I got up and I did my meditation, but then I was like, I'm going to go back to bed just for 30 more minutes, which is not normal. But in that time, I had a very intense dream. I slept really hard when those 30 minutes before my alarm went off. I woke up panicking, it was when you are in fear and your whole body just heats up, your head heats up, your chest heats up. It was one of those very intense kind of dreams.
So it sounds like a nightmare.
Was that what you would call it?
Nightmares are really anxiety dreams, and it sounded like this is a pretty strong anxiety dream. And
it was a nightmare. I had one. I had to wake up and remind myself, like, okay, I'm in my home. I'm safe. That wasn't real.
Yeah,
it was just like that intense and
that intense. Yeah. We don't have to go there, but I'm now really curious. Do you want to share it, or shall I talk about something else?
I don't know if I'm ready to share, because the reason why I say, when you're talking about things that are going in our life and then we dream about them or they have messages in some way, I feel like this dream had some messages that were relatable to my real life experiences. But in the dream, they were definitely more intense.
Yeah.
They were more heavy than the actual experience I'm going through. So after hearing you share what you shared before the commercial break, I now wonder if there's something that I'm not listening to and it decided to show up more intensely so I would pay attention.
Yeah, that's very possible. What they in general have seen and tested with people that have nightmares or very, very intense, anxious dreams is that just the fact of writing them down already makes future makes the anxiety go down a little bit, because somehow that seems to suggest to your own soul, hey, I'm listening. I might not completely get it, but I'm listening. So I'm writing it down. And you seem to reflect on, this in this dream, it's more intense than it is really what I think it is in day-to-day life. So somehow you're more anxious for what is going on than really is necessary. So you might help yourself by slowing down, doing these meditative practices, being a bit more embodied. When you get anxious in day-to-day life, and remind yourself, oh, my own soul said, yes, it is scary, but not as scary as it sometimes feels.
Yeah.
And then you can slow it down a little bit and figure out. And
That's some great advice. Absolutely. I can see how that would be applicable in this situation. And thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'm definitely going to write it down. I feel like that would bring a lot of clarity.
yeah, and that's also for all the listeners or anyone that has a nightmare or repetitive nightmares. The main question they ask me is, how do I get rid of them?
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't get rid of them by not listening. They will compound because your soul wants to communicate something that's important for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it won't. And the nice thing of the soul is it won't stop. It won't never give up on you. The more bothersome part of it is it will continue to knock. And so sometimes nightmares get worse over time. But if you write it down, and even you can use this technique of asking your dream a question. You could ask your dream the question as, how can I navigate better through this situation? Mm-hmm. Or what is one thing I can do to deal with this situation? Then your dream will portray a scenario or a character that has a certain way of being that you can emulate, that you actually know, hey, this character lives in me. If I can bring that character with me when I engage that situation, I will move through it.
Yeah, I like your viewpoint on how to look at your dreams, especially nightmares. While we're on the topic of nightmares, that is a question I did want to ask, a topic I did want to get on, because we all have nightmares at some point.
Yeah.
They're not always connected to something that's going on in our day-to-day life. Some of us may have night terrors, being affected by other energies, I would say, or past traumatic experiences. So something that's not happening in the here and now in our life. What do you have to say about any of that?
That by far the majority of our nightmares does reflect something that is currently somehow active or comes up. But if it's not, then it's the invitation to deal with whatever is present. The dream is a reality on its own. It's a world in which we encounter beings and figures. And we need to figure out a way that we can engage with them in a more optimal way. And sometimes that is by asking what they want. Sometimes if it's really doesn't belong to us, we can ask it to go away, which sometimes is the case. But it's by far the minority of cases that we're being haunted by negative energy. And then almost always that negative energy finds us because we're somehow vulnerable or open to such states at that moment. And by focusing on how do I, so if a person is really in a deep pain, they might be open to a certain negativity. And let's say the pain of jealousy. When you're really jealous, you might open up to unfavorable energies. So if you work on your own jealousy, you will automatically close the door to the unfavorable energies that might start lurking around.
That is really a neat way to look at it. So my dream, I'm not an anxious person. I have moments where I've had anxiety, sure, but I feel like that's more of an energetic thing, depending on who I'm around or the place that I'm in. I'm super sensitive to energies. So that was out of the norm, but also jealousy. I know everyone experiences jealousy on one level or another several times forever, on and off throughout their whole life, but it's not something that is a normal thing for me. And there was some of that going on, which was really abnormal for me. So it's just these two things alone that are out of my character. I thought that was interesting. So asking my dream and writing it down, I'm excited to practice those things to see what experience I have afterwards because of it.
Yeah, and you could look at the main emotion that you had in the dream, and just ask the dream, tell the dream, gosh, I was afraid for X, and I have some idea on how to deal with it, but I could use your help. What's a good way to engage with X? And then see what your dream says. Because your dream really wants you to become you, is on your side, and will try to help you navigate better through the territory of life.
I would say so. And I think that's with anything, right? Gaining clarity brings more calm, more peace, more balance in your day-to-day life. So I don't know why we wouldn't even think of doing that with our dreams. That makes so much sense. While we're on the topic of nightmares, before we move on, our producer Chanel shared with me before the show that she's had nightmares every single night since she was a kid. And as she's become an adult, they have worsened. And she was wondering if you had any advice related to that, or do you even discuss that in your book where she could refer to that?
Yes,
most times they're nightmares, but occasionally they're really bad night terrors.
She could maybe even just start with the question and say, "Hey, dream, you have been haunting me for years, and it's horrible, and I want to find a solution. And I would love show me one thing I can do that will help me with these nightmares." And then you make it really simple. It's one thing I can do, and then you will see the dream will portray something that she can do, and her own dreams and soul will know what that is. And I can, and then go. So you write down the question: what's one thing I can do to deal with the nightmares? Do a little ritual. It's really a kind of a form of an intention and expectation, and spend some time in which you really imagine that you ask this mysterious force that knows, this compassionate counselor that lives in the depths of our own being, and that you engage with it. And so make a ritual, a drawing, a dance, a song, light a candle, sage, whatever feels good. Go to bed, dream, sleep and dream, and then in the morning write down the dream, because they evaporate very often. Write it down, and then look at it. What does the dream suggest that I do? Because people don't have to live with nightmares. Yeah. There's really something going on that she hasn't picked up on. There's some dynamic that causes a lot of anxiety, and more than is necessary. Yeah. And so this technique could really help her.
I think it would help all of us. Anyone who was really curious on connecting to our soul, especially during the times when we're sleeping and probably don't feel like we're connected in that way.
And I would make the claim, actually, we're more connected during our sleep. Only our mind is so doesn't function in the same way. We don't really know that we're actually hanging out in the territory of soul. Yeah. And then we come back and we discount it, dismiss it. We're just not really taught to be in a dream-friendly culture. On my travels, I would be in many cultures where families in the morning would share their dreams, or the tribe would come together, or people would have a big dream and would be invited to someone to share it and people would listen to it. So we haven't been educated in a dream friendly way to listen to the expressions of our soul at night.
Yeah. Well, and we're not taught this, right? We don't know until we know. And that's why there are people like you who have a passion to share this information that you've learned and experienced for yourself. So thankful. I'm all about creating a ritual around anything.
Yeah.
I love the practice of getting clear and really diving in deep. And especially when it comes to any kind of, I call it medicine, but burning sage or palo, any of it, it brings a whole different energy, vibration that for me allows me like a doorway to my soul, to my consciousness, so I can go into these places that I'm not always in when I'm living my day-to-day life.
I love the way how you phrase it, a doorway into the soul. And I this is also my experience. I see a ritual really as a way to grind this reality and make it more porous, so that it opens up and the soul can move in. Just like people could sometimes have a meditative state, that they can feel, hey, different form of energy or state of consciousness is entering. And so by calling it a doorway into the soul, that is really beautiful, because I think that is what a good ritual does. Yes. And I've also seen with this technique of asking your dream a question, that it hinges really on ask a good question, be clear about what you really want to know, and create a ritual so that you put yourself in the frequency so that your soul can reach you. Because sometimes we're so dense that the soul might be knocking on our door. It's not so much that the soul is not answering, it's more that we aren't open enough. And ritual is a way to open up.
Yes. I feel like maybe that's why I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
Being a human has always been very challenging for me. I could go on and on about that topic, but anytime that I can connect to myself in a different way, I'm all about it. So I love that you brought that up. We have a past guest and listener, Nicole, who said, I like the idea of writing down the nightmares as a way of acknowledging your soul.
Yes, Nicole, that is even the acknowledgement that we're listening. Imagine that there is a monster, just like in Beauty and the Beast, that actually also contains some wisdom or a golden voice or something that's valuable for us, that it knows, oh, finally, Machiel or AJ or Nicole, you're listening. Then it will become less threatening and feels like it can communicate with you, whether that is at night in a dream or in the daytime through an intuition, a chance encounter, some synchronistic event. There's so many ways that the soul communicates with us. And writing it down and listening and being open, it will come in.
Yes. It seems so, when you say that, it seems like, oh yeah, of course. It seems so simple. Why didn't I think of that? But I didn't think of that. I'm sure a lot of people haven't thought of that. Like, why would you even write your soul a question? Excuse me, or your dream a question? But it makes complete sense. Of course you would.
And I also only found it out after I fell in the pit, and there was no way out. and then I got this lifeline, and it was like, oh, all right, oof, thank you, soul, and my gosh. And then I think my path was to continue to nurture that relationship. But very often we find a gold in the horror of life.
Yeah, I mean, the horror of life. I'm sorry. I find humor in all the things. That was funny to me. uh, what is your take on medications for sleeping, and how do they affect your dream state?
Yeah.
Whether it be prescription or
Mhm.
plant medicine,
Plant medicine,
like
what?
psilocybin or some type of.
Yeah. So what I really hear is two questions. One is the medication for sleeping, and first of all, if people don't sleep well, I understand that on a certain moment they want to sleep and start taking medication,
Mhm.
and at the same time, it not sleeping well also opens up certain questions that we can ask ourselves again. Is instead of I'm waking up in the night and I cannot not sleep well. What are you waking up to? What are the thoughts that are present? Because not infrequently at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. there are these ghosts metaphorically sitting, or not metaphorically, sitting at your bed, telling you things, or telling what didn't go well or what you need to do the next day. And I've noticed even there that if I wake up in the middle of the night and I start writing it all down, like, okay, what is all so necessary that you cannot tell me throughout the day and that you try to tell me now? And then it's okay, I write it down and I say, I promise tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. this is the first thing I'm gonna do, so that it also knows I will follow up, because otherwise the next night it knocks again, and usually more forceful, and then it starts sometimes turning into these nightmares. So sometimes this waking up is the only time that our consciousness is so not distracted by day-to-day life that we actually can hear what is relevant for us. And might come in a little bit too forceful, but write it down. And ask yourself, if you can't sleep well, how come I can't sleep well? What prevents me? Oh, I'm not relaxed enough when I go to bed, or I wake up, and then you can explore something that is more or less natural, sleep. What interrupts it? And so if you try to see what interrupts it, the interruption might go away, and sleep would bounce back to its natural rhythm. And sometimes sometimes there's a biological reason, but those things are usually it's not that. It's usually something psychologically or some habitual pattern. If I know if I'm work too long in the evening and I'm too focused with light and on the internet, that I'm just buzzing too much when I go to bed, and then I can't fall asleep. So you might have to take an hour, you wind down, and all these sleep hygiene activities that we might do implement in our life. So there's probably a lot of value to not take it and figure out what interrupts. And so you can work on the interruption, because it might be, again, your soul trying to tell you something that you're not picking up throughout the day, because your mind is more attuned to the soul in the darkness of the night. It comes in, and you just have to learn to listen and work with it a little bit. Don't take it all too literal. It's not the end of the world that you forgot to post that letter or email that person. It's maybe something that you say the next day, hey, sorry, I forgot this, and then you can go further.
Yeah.
So
maybe a more specific question would be, how does that type of environment where we're restless or having sleeplessness affect our dream state and us communicating with our soul?
Yeah. Also, it's more difficult to dream, of course, when you're restless and you don't fall as deep in sleep as where most dreams come up, and you will have more restless dreams. But every dream always contains some kernel of gold in it, that if you connect to it, the restlessness might go away, or you can sustain the restlessness in a better way, and can help you. So, but on the other hand, I also understand that sometimes people take some medication just because they can say, "Yeah, Machiel, all nice and well, but I can't sleep on 2 hours," and so I understand.
Yeah. As far as the journeying goes with like a plant-based,
Yeah.
like a psilocybin, for instance, where people go into these dream-like states.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's similar
Yes.
as when they're going to sleep on a regular night and having a dream? Is it still the same type of communication that they're receiving?
Well, it is. I would. The dream is a form of imagination. It's another world, and that world is constructed by your own psyche or your own soul in a certain way, and these plant medicines also bring you in another world, and this other world functions more or less, or is created in more or less the same way as the dream state. So the only big thing is that you're just coming from it directly from waking. Your mind is you're clearly not sleeping. You can remember most of it, and you're in the other world of the plant medicine where you have encounters, and even there you often set an intention, or you have a question. How can I experience more self-love? Or I would like to deal with the trauma or something. People usually go in with a sacred intention, not unlike people can do with identical form with the dream. And so then in that world of the plant medicine, you can engage in the same way with the environment as you can in a dream. Only in a plant medicine time, you're usually more aware. So if there's a scary thing, you can turn towards and say, do you have a message for me? Is there something you want to tell me? And that kind of engagement, whether it's in dream or in plant medicine or in this reality, is what is really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just feel like they're probably very similar planes.
Yeah.
Just different types of realities, maybe.
We live in with a lot of other realities coexisting to this reality.
Very true.
Because also the dream doesn't disappear. We open our eyes, but the dreaming consciousness continues to coexist. Whether you want to look at it a bit more scientifically with the different brain areas that are coexisting, or it is, you have this world. I call it usually dense reality because it's a dense reality. You have dream reality, you have your plant medicine reality, and the out-of-body experience, and the near-death experience. And all those realities are just coexisting next to each other, and at the same time are interconnected. And therefore we can connect to the helpful forces that are in dream, whether that is the cab driver who is really enthusiastic or passionate. That same energy continues to coexist in this reality, and can be helpful. Or even the nightmare that you say, what do you want? And then have it right back, because it's not gone. It's just coexisting in a space that you cannot see so well, but it's still there.
It's really neat that you said that it's coexisting, especially when it comes to other realities, like even NDE. I mean, I wouldn't even have thought of that. I've never really, but that makes complete sense. Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you're with us another hour. We're going to take our last break of the show. Next hour is completely commercial free. So everyone stay close. There's more to come.
Hey members, The new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Are we alone in the universe? The most important question facing humanity is on the verge of being settled once and for all. The Mutual UFO Network has been at the forefront of this journey for nearly 50 years. Our members worldwide are dedicated to the research, documentation, and awareness that will shape the future of humanity. Won't you join us?
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Hello and welcome back to Soul Wanderings. I am AJ, your host, and we are hanging out on kgradb.com. If you have not gone over to the station, I highly recommend that you do. My show's on there, which we all love Soul Wandering, right? There are other shows as well, and you guys can take a deep dive into the unknown and hang out with people who are like-minded, who ask questions about why this and what's that. So head on over there. You'll see there's all of this information for you to peruse, but there's also a members area. And if you're interested in signing up, I have a promo code SOUL21, SOUL21, which gives you 30% off your annual membership so you can save some money and build those big, beautiful brains. I highly recommend you do it. And if you want to get to know me and what I am doing, you can visit soulwanderings.com. But let's not talk about me. Let's talk about our guest, Machiel. He is hanging out with us tonight, and I am so excited. I love talking about dreams. I have about, 8 or 10 dream interpretation books.
Mm-hmm.
When you like have a snake show up in your dream and you're like, what does that mean? What do you think about those books? Do they mean anything to you, or are they just entertainment?
A little bit in between.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it brings to the question a bit of what is a dream, and we've been talking about it a little bit. But a dream is a world, and how does this world get created? It gets created out of your own emotions and thoughts and beliefs and expectations, and that takes on a dimensional reality. So it makes a world. And so let's say that this was a dream, and I feel, gosh, I have this critical voice inside that thinks, oh, I'm just babbling along and it makes no sense, then maybe my former boss comes into the room and he starts looking like this. So that would be my own inner critic taking on the form and shape of my previous boss, who I associate with criticalness. And that would be an personal symbol. So the dream will take emotions that are represented by people we know. So maybe you have a dream about someone that is jealous, and then, hey, there's the neighbor coming in, and you would say, what do you associate to the neighbor? Oh, he's jealous. What do you associate to the former boss? Oh, he's critical. So that is usually what a dream dictionary cannot do. It doesn't know that former boss is critical. So the dream dictionary might say someone with authority comes in. Might be, but in your specific case or my specific case, it might be more criticalness comes in. So one way that people can do is, what do I associate to this figure? That will give some idea of how to work with a dream. Another question that people can ask is, what is the function of this? Let's say I'm driving a car. I can look up car and it might say something. And I can also say, what is the function of car? Oh, it moves me through life. It brings me where I need to be. Oh, I'm in a place where I'm moving through life and I can get to the steering wheel. All right. But and then you can figure out, do I recognize that experience in my day-to-day life? That I'm moving along and I just can't seem to be in control or get to move in the right way. So with a couple of little other techniques, we can get pretty far in working with a dream. On the other hand, some of the dreams do take symbols that are relatively universal, like the sense of home or a tree or the sun. And we all have a certain collective association to trees. They usually have something to do with the development of the life process, but not always, because our own psyche creates somewhat a personal and somewhat a collective dream environment. So the dream dictionary can give us a little direction, can sometimes be like, oh yeah, that feels right. And it can never be as personal as your own dream really is.
Right. They are entertaining, however.
they are entertaining.
Oh, look, we have a question from Genghis tonight. Do you have any comment on when I wake up from a dream, for the first few seconds, the dream is so clear. Yeah. However, as the seconds go by, it's as if the clarity slips away.
Yes,
it doesn't.
Yes,
remembered or recalled.
Yeah. As mentioned earlier on, our short-term memory doesn't function well at night, and just comes back online when we wake up.
It's like that for me all day.
Well, I hear you, but it would be really disconcerting if you would be 2 hours further and you would have no idea what happened, just like in dreams. Because at night, your mind or your brain, let's say your mind, is actually active. So it's not that nothing happens. Your mind is having all kinds of experiences at night. You just don't remember it anymore. But to answer this question is, yes, it's not uncommon that happens. And usually what works best is lay in the same position, don't move, and start retelling the dream to yourself, maybe several times. Oh, I was in the supermarket trying to find new ingredients, couldn't find the pepper. They had put it somewhere else. Okay, I was in the supermarket, was looking for ingredients. So that if you say it maybe 3, 4, 5 times, it gets stored in the memory. Get out of bed, write it down, and then you capture the dream.
Yes, keep a dream journal, people. I think that's so important. I have one next to my bed.
I do too, and it communicates to the dream that you're interested, and somehow it is relational. So the more and the more, and any culture in the world noticed this. Like the Naskapi Indians were a nomad tribe that would depend on the dream, on figuring out where to stay the night and where to hunt, and even who to marry. And what they noticed is if they listened to the dream and even just acknowledged it by thanking the dream or making a little ritual that embodied some element of the dream, they would get more dreams and better dreams. And our dream journal is our own variation of that.
Mm-hmm.
We capture the dream and let the dream know, hey, we're interested. And then the dream knows, oh, Machiel, AJ, whoever is listening, and we get better dreams and more dreams.
It's similar, what it makes me feel like, it's similar to when we receive communication from our guides or our angels. And the more we show the gratitude, the more they show up for us.
Yeah. A similar, same.
Interesting.
Yes.
For those of you who are just joining us here in the second hour, we are hanging out with Machiel. I'm going to say it wrong. Machiel.
It's really good.
Beautiful accent, and you could say it so well. Plus, it's your name.
Yes.
And you're a social entrepreneur, licensed mental health therapist, international speaker, and a dream worker. And your book that you just recently published is called Dream Guidance: Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation. What kind of things would we find in your book when we go to grab one for ourselves?
It's on purpose a relatively thin book that you can read in several hours. And I did that on purpose because I just wanted to create something that people could easily adapt in their own life. So you will get a technique in which you can ask your dream a question and get an answer, and I'll explain the 5 steps in it. And it just helps you identify a really good question and how to formulate the question, which is the first really big part of the whole endeavor. How to set up the rituals, and a way of to work with the dream response that doesn't require a lot of symbol knowledge. So it's I can give an example of something, and then that maybe helps. So recently there was this man who had gone through a divorce, and after a year wanted to go back in the dating world, and he said, I'm dating, but it's not flowing so well. It's not going well. Could the dream help me find an unsuitable partner? And yes, the dream is really interested in helping you live a happy, healthy life. So the man so he first identified that he had a question, and we all live actually several questions. Some that we push away, that later on become nightmares. But some of these questions, like, am I in the right relationship? Is this the right job? What should I do? Those are actually really great questions. They take a bit of courage to ask, but they're really relevant to your soul. So step 1, know that you have a question. Step 2 is phrase the question well. So this man said, yeah, I want to find a partner, but if I really think about it, if I know what my biggest obstacle is in finding a partner, and I can tackle that, I probably will find that partner and I can keep with that partner. And so he said, okay, I'm writing down dream. What is my biggest obstacle in my dating life? Then step 3 is create a ritual. This man drew a heart with a question mark on it, wrote to the dream, light a candle, did some meditation in bed just before he fell asleep. And then step 4 is go to bed, get a good night of sleep, dream. And then step 5 is write down the dream and you work on it. So this man had the dream. He says, I'm driving in a car in a tunnel, and in front of me is another car, and I think that in the distance I see a mountain lion. When I get closer, I see it's a beautiful tiger, but I get really scared. I slam on the brakes, and I'm backing out. And so instead of asking the question, what does this mean? You can ask the question, what is happening? That's easier, and everyone can answer that without a lot of pre-knowledge of dream work. And so he said, what is happening is I'm moving through life, and when I see something that's really beautiful, I get scared. And when I get scared, I'm back out. And then he thought, read that against his question of what's my biggest obstacle in my dating life.
Yeah.
That is when you get fearful because it gets too beautiful, too intimate, you slam on the brakes and you're out.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
a big message.
That's a huge message.
Yes.
And deeply helpful, because probably he would know this on a certain level, but getting this in the dream really cemented it for him. That is my issue, and now I can start working on sustaining the fear that I have, and how do I engage with it in a different way.
Yeah. And I feel like that message, that story you just shared with us is so good, because I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah. On a certain level, I bet we all can. Whether you're dating and you want to find a partner, and usually a beautiful partner, or a partner that you're really wanting to be in a relationship with, also causes a little bit of fear, because now your heart is open, and what if they don't like me, and what if they reject me, and if they abandon me, or they don't, they judge me. Your heart is on the line.
Yeah.
And when the heart is on the line, of course you will be a bit fearful.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It's super scary. But I'm a sucker for love. I'm like, I love love.
It's the most beautiful thing there is, and that's why we all want it and want to find it. And it is also
over and over again.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not a hopeless romantic at all. I think that's so neat that you can really dive in deep into your dreams that way and receive those messages, and you actually can work with your dreams, and not just in the dream state, but in your awakeness. Like while you're awake and aware, you actually have a tangible thing to work with.
Right. Hey, I have just a quick question. I feel I became blurry at once.
You
Is that
did
true?
a little bit, yes.
I'm gonna stop the webcam and come back. I don't know how that's possible.
Did you scoot? Maybe it shouldn't. See, I am not good with the technology things. That's why I have my amazing producer, Chanel. She does all of those things for me.
Well, if Chanel has a suggestion, we can follow it, and otherwise,
she'll type it over here in our private chat that we have behind the scenes.
Okay.
The good thing is, though, we can see you.
Okay.
So, at least I can, but I have glasses on. The interpretation of our dreams. How do we know what they mean for us? So like you just explained to us the example with this man, and he had this dream, but without someone like you helping us really find the message in the dream, how would we do that for ourselves?
Well, I this what I encourage people to do is ask the question, what is happening? Because what is happening, you can just in a story form tell what is happening. And then you look in your life, do I see this pattern being played out? So there's different ways. If you ask your dream a question, it's usually easier to read the answer against the question, because you know somewhat the area. It's like if there's a type of food I should eat, and then I see a peppermint plant or so, then you know what it is. But in general, what is happening will help people. And if people have a certain sense of it clicks, that is very often a signal of, oh, you're on. Like they go like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That is, it's not 100%, but it's pretty close to how far we can get.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty far.
Yeah.
That's pretty far. My mind is going in so many places. I have so many questions. With the amount of work that happens in our dreams and the interpretations that we receive after through our work, I imagine great healing occurs. Just like that experience that you shared with the man having the fear of being in a relationship or having that love. Are we able to go like dive deeper intentionally, even more so than asking our dreams a question, so that we can do that inner healing?
Well, the inner healing always wants to take place, and it requires some participation from us. The good thing is, just like a wound on your arm, we need to clean the wound, and then the wound will heal itself. There's some deep intelligence in the body that where it is self-healing. It just requires from us to clean the wound. And with many of these psychological traumas and problems that we have, is turn towards it and clean it a little bit. It's not all upon us. There's a self-healing mechanism operating in us that will help us with trauma, pain, and start rearranging a form that will help us in our life.
Mm-hmm. What about our connection to spirit in our dreams? Like for me, I have loved ones who have transitioned, who show up in my dreams, or what I perceive to be like probably a spirit guide or something like that. How do they have a role in our dreams, and do they come through our dreams to give us messages that we will remember, or even guide us in a direction that they know we're meant to go?
Well, it's a big topic of meeting deceased loved ones in a dream.
Yeah.
And many people experience that in some form. And usually people that meet a loved one make a distinction between, oh, this feels really like a visitation, where other forms sometimes feel like, oh, this feels more like my mind created this as a symbol. In the visitation dreams, they're more there's a certain different quality to it. And I think it's really beautiful and helpful to know, one, that life seems to go on according to the dream, that the ancestors live in the dream world or some other world, and maybe they visit us in the dream world, that we still can have a relationship with them, clearly different than in this reality, because you can go and have dinner with them, but you can talk to them and they can talk back, and they enjoy hanging around and helping us and supporting us and loving us. So that is helpful to have that from your own experience, so that you don't have to believe that there is some afterlife or life next life, or if you would say they live next to us. But and very often within a year or two after a person dies, they come and visit their loved one. And but if we never remember our dreams, we will also not always remember when the loved one was in the dream. So if people who write down their dreams for longer periods of time almost always start reporting, hey, I had grandma visit me, or my beloved partner, or my father was in the dream, and he seemed to be doing well, because almost always they seem to be doing well on the other side.
Mhm.
And sooner or later they come to a place that seems to be in a good spot for them.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's very similar also that you brought up the different realities, just like when we're in our dream state is very similar to a NDE state or all of the other ones that you mentioned before. I feel like that would probably be very similar. I don't even know if you'd call them multidimensional realities because that's probably completely different. But when you were bringing up how it was, similar but different realities, but they're all connected.
Yes,
Oh,
and
you got your camera to work. Good job.
thank you. I do think that they are connected realities and experiences, and also what is interesting is that in the dream, if you become, for example, lucid in a dream, that means that you know that you are dreaming. You can start noticing how the dream environment responds to your own belief system and your expectations and the intention. And so, for example, if I expect in the dream that I can step through the wall, I can. If I in the dream expect that I cannot step through the wall, I will bounce off of it. So your expectation influences reality in a very quick way. Mm-hmm. And in the dream, you can see how that happens. And then once you see how the dream is created, because it's really, let's say you have an inner painter who paints a reality around you. And the paint it uses is expectation and beliefs and thoughts and intentions and willpower and focus. Mm-hmm. But then you come back to this world and you can see that the same painter paints over our reality and filters our world with our expectations and beliefs. And so we all technically live in our own world, despite the fact that we share worlds. We also live in our own world because we might meet the same person, and my painter paints this person in a slightly different way than your painter, built on experiences and preferences and likes and dislikes. And so the more we understand how the painter paints the world, and we can learn it really well in a lucid dream, the better we can understand how this world is painted in the same way. And actually, the NDE states and the out-of-body experiences and the plant medicine worlds are painted in the same fashion. So all these worlds are somewhat created in the same way. And the more we know how they are created, the better we can navigate through them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm glad you brought up lucid dreaming. I was going to ask you about that. But first, let's get to two of our listeners who have questions.
Yes, great.
One question is, do you have any views on past lives? And if so, could they be accessible through dreams?
Yeah, great question. I do think that in many, there's so much to say about that. In a certain way, we of course are descendants from our grandparents and parents, and we carry problems and karma or energies that come down the family line. So that is in a certain way already past lives that are our lives. But very, very people might have experiences that don't really pertain to their direct life, but seem to come from a previous time or previous problems, seem to be reappearing, that are so big that cannot be contributed to this life. Let's say a person is terrified for a prison, that has not and have never been in prison, have no experience with prisons. Or maybe this comes from some previous energy where a person was locked up in a prison and now still has this response to prison that is very, very extreme. so extreme that you cannot contribute it to this reality. I do know from a man who in a dream, I think it was a lucid dream, his brother had died, and he goes into this room, and then he sees his brother, but at the tables there are dozens and dozens of other figures, and he knows, oh, these are previous lives of this person. And so sometimes the dream portrays literally a previous life, or the reunion with the previous life after death, and previous lives seem to still continue to influence our life, in the sense that we are born with a cluster of energy or karma or complexes that we need to work out this life, that have nothing to do with ourselves. We're not born blank. We're born with a cluster of energy that was there before us. And so in whatever form you think about the previous lives have built up. We inherit a cluster of energy that we need to work out. I hope that it makes somewhat sense.
It makes sense to me. If the listener doesn't understand, then I'm sure that they'll ask more questions.
Please do.
I mean, we
listener.
can't really talk to them, but
Yeah.
excuse me. It is interesting, the whole past lives scenario. I've had past life regression done, and that's done through hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
I've done that a couple of times. I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest, but that's a whole different topic. And it looks like he did understand your answer. So good job. You did a good job.
Thank you.
The other question was, are there times when we cannot trust our dreams? For an example, this listener was sick with Lyme and on several different antibiotics, and was running fevers with terrible night sweats, and for months had terrifying nightmares on a day or a nightly basis. And the dreams seemed more fever induced or caused by inflammation in her brain. And she was wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah. I don't think dreams lie to us, but I do think that that in a state of illness, like a fever, or you take a certain medication, we have somewhat distorted dreams, or maybe the fever or the Lyme disease presents itself as a foreign substance, a foreign agent that tries to attack us, and then we might dream about feeling attacked. So it might reflect it on that level, and really give away because dreams are also very often indications of illness, and in the old traditions, dreams were the go-to area for healing, also physical healing. So I do think that dreams don't lie, but drinking too much or some substance or some medication might distort our dream somewhat. And we need to just understand that the distortion is the energy of the substance that we took, or the illness that we have, that takes on a form and shape in our dream.
So it would be like an energy-induced nightmare, or they say even like a fever-induced nightmare.
Yeah, and then the illness takes on the form of whatever it is in the nightmare.
Interesting. Okay, I'm glad she asked that question.
Yeah,
I remember now that was brought up, having like fever-induced nightmares, assuming that's what they were. But when you're in that state, definitely. Another question is, what do you have to say about feeling physical pain in dreams? Like if you had a dream that you were shot, and then you were like feeling the bullets in your actual dreams. Is that a thing?
That is a thing. And the interesting part of that thing is that your mind or your soul creates this reality, and that your brain doesn't distinguish between an imaginal reality and this dense reality. And so in the dream, you can eat a cake and it will taste really delicious. Or you
ever had?
or you get shot, and it I don't know how it feels, but I've been shot in a dream, and it feels like a bullet, or someone stumps you, or you have a fun erotic experience that feels identical to the similar experience in this reality. So your mind, or the dream creates a reality that that your brain doesn't distinguish between that reality and this reality. It's experienced both as real.
What about if you wake up with actual bruises where you got shot in your dream? Have you heard of that happening?
Yeah, it's very it's very rare, but sometimes that has happened.
Yeah.
But on another note, people have trained in lucid dreams for sport events, like
let's
swimming.
talk about lucid dreaming.
Yeah, so lucid dreaming is a dream in which you know that you're dreaming. And so athletes were training in the lucid dream for their swimming event. And they noticed that even in the lucid dream, due to the training there, their muscle mass did expand. So the brain even, or your body even, responds to physical activity in the dream state by growing muscle.
Whoa.
Crazy, yeah?
It is. That is crazy. But it's really cool too.
Yeah.
It is really cool. I want to keep talking about lucid dreaming. I'm not exactly sure. Like, I've heard the term, I've heard of people doing it.
Yeah.
It's something that it's a dream state that you can create on your own, or is it when you go into a dream state, you're aware that you're in a dream state?
That is a lucid dream. So that you're in the dream and you go, oh my gosh. Like I had last week, I was on the bicycle and I drove by my house on the bicycle in the dream. And I looked at my house and I thought, hey, that is where I'm sleeping right now. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is a dream.
Oh, wow.
And so then you're aware in the dream state that you're dreaming. And then you really notice that you're in a world. And that allows you at that moment, just like asking your dream questions before you go to bed, you can start doing experiments. On one level, you can just fly, or you can meet a beautiful person, which is great. And a little bit further, you could use it for personal development or healing. So I once yelled out, is there anyone with a message for me? And then my youth hero, Johan Cruijff, came flying to me and said, come, I'm going to take you with me. I'm going to show you something. So we were flying together, and at the ground, there was a crossing and a crossroads. And he said, I'm going to teach you how to cross a crossing. And I was like, well, okay. And he said, you just have to go. And then when you see a car and you get really scared, you stop, but you don't go back. And when the car is gone, you go further. And you do that as long till you got to the other side. And then I wrote it down when I woke up. And after puzzling a little bit about it, I thought, oh, I'm in a crossroads in my life. I was wondering, shall I go to my private practice or not? And naturally, I had some fear, like, will people come? Will they be interested? Will I be good enough? And the dream said, just go. And when you get scared, you stop. But under no circumstance you run back to your old work. Don't run back. Just wait. And then when the fear is a little bit less, you go on. And you go on just as long till you are on the other side. And it was just what I needed to hear. So those are things that are possible in the lucid dream. Other things people can do is talk to dream figures. Just ask them, who are you? What brings you here? You can ask to experience a concept or an idea or a state of consciousness. I once yelled out, I would love to experience unconditional love. And then I was zapped in a state of unconditional love that lasted for a minute, and then it went away, and I could still feel it waking up, just the buzzing quality in my body. And this is available to anyone. The only thing, of course, is you need to become lucid, and there are all kinds of techniques that people can become lucid, and then you can ask your dream in the dream space a question, and it will respond to your question. So whatever you want to know, your dream can help you.
So you can intentionally put yourself in a lucid dream state.
What you want to do is practice throughout the day. So how do you know this is not a dream? No, then you do a reality check. One thing is, if I can push with my hand through my finger through my hand, it's a dream. So I postpone knowing that this is not a dream. I think, I don't know, let me try. No, it's not possible. So this is, I call dense reality. And you do that several times a day. And you tell your dream before you go to bed, tonight in the dream, I want to become lucid. Tonight in the dream, I want to become lucid. So you set that intention so that your mind in the dream state knows, oh yeah, I want to become lucid. Maybe you then in the dream state think, hey, is this a dream? You do the test, push your finger through your hand. Yay, I'm in a dream. And then you're in the dream state, you know that you're dreaming, and then you can fly around or find healing. You can yell, you can say, I would like to speak to the inner doctor. I have a question on my ear, my whatever. I have a pain, I don't know. And you can ask what is going on, or can you heal me? And people have really amazing results that way.
So you're able to make conscious choices.
Yeah.
In a lucid dream state.
That's right. That is really the lucid dream. You're aware that you're in the dream, and so you can proactively do things that you otherwise just somewhat unconsciously live out.
All right. I can see that there would be many benefits to being in that state. What about any dangers?
Yeah, there's not really any danger. It's not dangerous at all. Though it's probably less dangerous than living in this reality, because even if something happens, you always will wake up in your bed. And of course, if you start having negative intentions, you can bring in negative experiences. But who would want to do that?
Right. It's your dream. You can create a whole different reality.
Yeah, you can turn around and say, when I turn around, I would like to see something that's important for me to see. And then see what your own soul presents to you. And it will be so spot on and so fitting for you at that moment in time that you will be deeply grateful to the dream and the awareness behind the dream for helping you.
Yeah. I've heard of it. I'm familiar with people who say they've been lucid dreaming, and I'm like, interesting. I'll have to remember that one day. But now that I know more about it, I'm very intrigued. Very intrigued.
Yeah. And some people have a little bit more natural affinity to become lucid. I have to work a little bit on it usually. But if people just practice, they step through a door, and then every time they step through a door, ask yourself, am I in a dream? And then do a dream test like this, or can I fly? No, I cannot. Dense reality. Yes, I can. Whoa, I'm in a dream. And then know what kind of question you want to ask or experiment you want to do, because sometimes your mind is not as sharp as in this reality, or if you have to think it there, it's more difficult. So think what you want to do, but broad things as, is there anyone with a message? Please show me something that's important for me to see, are really great initial steps on the lucid dream journey.
Yeah. So anyone could lucid dream if they just practiced.
Yes. It's a learnable skill, and probably 1 in 5 of your listeners once in a while already has a lucid dream.
Now I'm curious. Well, I obviously can't go back and confirm that I've had lucid dreams, but I'm kind of wondering because I feel like I'm in a dream state a lot. I drift off during the day and go other places. I just thought it was daydreaming.
Well,
But I get a lot of clarity when I do it.
yeah. Well, daydreaming is the dreaming consciousness that comes up throughout the day. So if you again think about it, these two realities or multiple realities coexist. Then if you just become a little daydreamy, then your dreaming consciousness just comes up, and then you start having daydreams. And sometimes these daydreams become so strong that you don't even see this reality anymore. You're really in the daydream, and then you startle, and that reality just sinks here again, and it's there. But so we all know that these realities coexist. But a lucid dream is really when you sleep at night and you're in the dream, and then you know, oh, this is a dream. But the same thing can happen in a daydream. If your daydream becomes strong enough, you can ask it questions, you can engage with whatever you're daydreaming.
I would imagine a lot of creative souls daydream a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's probably why I do it. There's another question. When you practice lucid dreaming, is there a danger in wanting to always be in a dream state versus real life?
No, because no, it's not. This reality becomes you can engage with that reality in a way that this reality also becomes more interesting, and then you're really going to enjoy being in this reality because you understand better how it functions, how to engage with it, and then the night becomes an adventure, but actually your daytime becomes also a big adventure.
Oh, is this something that you teach and explain in your book, Dream Guidance, Connecting to the Soul Through Dream Incubation?
No, I don't. I noticed that everyone can ask their dream a question before they go to bed and get an answer.
Yeah.
Fewer people go through the process of, oh, now I need to become lucid, and there's a bit of discipline to it usually. Some people are easily lucid, but the majority needs to work a little bit on it. And I wanted to create a way for people to connect to the larger awareness or the inner counselor or the spirit guide or your ancestor in a way that you just can do tonight. So everyone can tonight write down a question, do a ritual, and get a dream. And I think I become blurry again.
You have a little bit. Yeah, I think when you back up or when you move a lot, it seems to do that.
That is it. Okay.
It's the camera, more than likely. It's trying to keep up with you.
Well, I figured out what I did last time, so I'm going to just do the same.
Oh, did you try Chanel's trick? Oh, yep, it worked. There you are. Welcome back.
So, yeah. So in my book is really how do you ask your dream a question before you go to bed, and not so much on the lucid dream.
Yeah, well, it came up in the conversation. I'm glad it did because you really gave me some food. Wow, words are hard tonight. Food for thought.
Yes.
And I definitely am going to start asking questions before I go to bed. I actually love to sleep. I think a lot of people do. And not only for the rest and rejuvenation, but because I do dream a lot and I do remember a lot of my dreams and I do receive a lot of clarity and I feel like I connect to my ancestors and my guides often in my dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for all of that. But I know not everyone is the same, doesn't have the same experiences. But it sounds like with what you share in your book, you're able to teach everyone that they can have those experiences for themselves and not only love their dreams, but love their day reality by working through their dreams and connecting to their soul.
Beautifully said. And I love that you have this natural relationship with dreams. And so you know that dreams can be helpful. And this book will just help people to, you don't have to wait only for the dream to come to you. If you turn towards the dream is delighted to help. And I think that there is free will. So the dream is, it will let you figure it out on your own, or the larger awareness. But if you want to support, it's almost like you need to have an informed consent and say, God or divine or spirit guide, I would like to have some help with this. And then it is more, it will step in. Otherwise, it often will also give you all the space to figure it out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter. It will let you figure it out on your own, or it will help you, whatever you want. But if you want help, it's the old saying, ask and you shall be given.
Yes.
And that's how it is. And actually, it is also ask better questions and you get better answers. So you can fine tune it a bit. But that's the basic notion of that the larger awareness seems to be interested in helping and educating and supporting us, guiding us on our life when we reach out for help.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great because so many of us who don't feel like we are dreaming or want to gain, more significant messages through our dreams. What a great practice for us that you have taught us by asking the question and being very specific in what we ask to receive more of a specific answer. And I really like that you shared with us to develop rituals to engage our soul. So before bed and then when we wake up, to really connect to those dreams and those messages that our soul is sharing with us.
Yes, thank you. And by doing that, we not only get more messages at night, but it strengthens our intuition. We get daydreams that are more filled with direction or information.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps in any area to just be more attuned and get more information from the soul.
Yeah. Oh, it just feels really good. Now, I mean, I'm always excited to receive messages through my dreams, but knowing like such a simple thing, I can ask these questions tonight. I'm definitely going to get more specific. And
one thing is ask one question at a time. Otherwise, the dream
each
becomes
night.
because otherwise the dream becomes very difficult to understand.
Mm.
And if people don't know what to ask, they can ask a question as, what is one thing I can do to love myself more deeply? And then they get a suggestion on what they can do. And that's one that always works. Do a good ritual, write down the question, meditate on it. If you have another question, great too. But just for if people can't come up with a question, I encourage them to do that one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I just love all of this great advice. I'm so glad that you joined us tonight. Everyone in the chat room is sending their gratitude, saying that you were so happy to have you here. Definitely going to be purchasing the book. All of us, it sounds like. And let's pop that book cover up on the screen so everyone knows what we're looking for. There we go. Dream guidance, connecting to the soul through dream incubation. So awesome. I wish we had more time. I know you have plenty more to share. We do have a few more minutes. So let's take those few minutes for our listeners to get to know you a little more. You are up to a lot of things. So share your website. And it looks like we have even time for you to share about your other project.
Yeah, I also based on a nighttime dream, I started a company, the Jung Platform, Jung platform.com. And in the dream, it suggested to build a platform for Jung and spiritual and dream psychology. So I built a company that first a nonprofit here in Utah, and then an online company, indeed this one, where people can find great programs on Jungian topics like shadow work and synchronicity and archetypes for beginners and intermediate. We have 25 programs on how to work with dreams or how to become lucid in your dream. Then we have other programs on with an African shaman, or how to deal with your family karma, or how to deal with a narcissist. All kinds of really relevant life topics. And and also a lot of free content there. So if people just want to get a taste, so that's. But it's also a great example of how a dream really gave me, in my case, gave me a vocation that I've been working on ever since, and has been really, really great. And it's nice to be connected that way. And I know it's not just for me. Everyone has this phenomenon living inside of them that speaks to them through dreams and in other ways, but dreams is one way.
Yeah, it's so neat that we all have that in common.
That is so neat. Yes.
It really is, because there's not a lot of things that we all share in that way. Do you have a favorite Jung quote? There are so many.
There's many. One that now pops to in my mind is something as, what irritates us about an other will tell us a lot about ourselves.
Yes, that's one of my favorite ones too. I actually have that written in my planner. I do keep a day planner still.
Yes.
I have too many thoughts not to. Well, it
Very
has
good.
been such a joy and such an honor to have you here with us tonight. Thank you so very much for all of your time. And for all of you
thank you,
who are
AJ.
not watching here on video and just listening to the replay or whatnot, why don't you share your website with us really quick?
Okay, it is Machiel Klerk, and I'm going to spell it MachielKlerk.com. Or just type in Dream Guidance, and then my name will come up, and it's just my first and last name.com. And you'll find a lot about my dream work and speaking and my therapy practice.
Do you take clients long distance?
Yeah, I actually on this moment I only take clients online. That since the pandemic I moved online, and I never moved out of online.
I think a lot of people did the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to know that there are people like you in the world helping other humans through this experience that we get to have.
Well, thank you, AJ. And I love your energy and your inquisitiveness, and that you're a dreamer yourself, and your connection to soul and what you do to bring soul into the world. So there's been a real joy and privilege to share a bit of time with you.
Thank you so very much. I hope our paths cross again in the future. Take care of you. And listeners, to all of you, what a great show, right? I love Soul Wandering so much. It makes my heart so happy. I'm not going to lie. Today was a heavy day because energies just really get funky. And I am just delighted to end my day with all of you. It's just been beautiful. So much gratitude for all of you. Next week, we have psychic medium tests, so get those questions ready and be ready to call in with them. I'm excited to hang out with you next week. Until then, be good to yourself and be good to each other. Good night.